Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming, the readers and the audience. This is wonderful. We're delighted to see our students, our lecturers and our friends from other universities and from Reading City. We're delighted to see everybody here. Welcome to our participation in the European Festival of Latin and Greek. The festival celebrates a poetic heritage that's shared not just in Europe but across the world. And to signal this massive sharing and participation, the festival consists of a number of public readings of Greek and Latin poetry that take place on the same day across the world. And the readings are all amateur and ad hoc, as is doubtless clear, but they must be public to be in the spirit of the festival. For the last 2 years, they read the Odyssey in 1 year, they read Metamorphoses last year, and this year we are, of course, reading the Iliad. We've chosen book 6. The festival is taking place, there's a map online, from Norway to Australia, from Korea to Western Canada, and its languages include Hebrew and Japanese, Arabic, Afrikaans, as well as numerous European languages. On the table there's some leaflets for the summer school in Homer in Latin, which people are very welcome to pick up. Everyone is also welcome to an Easter egg after they have read or listened. And we also invite everyone to the Ur Museum of Greek Archaeology for an exhibition about translations of the Iliad. And that's organised by museum colleagues and by James Lloyd, who's completing a PhD on ancient music with us. And he is going to begin our performance with an invocation to the Muses by Mesomedes, who was the court composer to the Emperor Hadrian. The Iliad starts with its own appeal to the Muses, and scholars think that this kind of song might have preceded performances of the Iliad in antiquity. So thank you very much, James.
Aedemus amoi fili, molpis demis catacu, aurede son apaltheon, emas frenas doneto. Sing to me, dear muse, and begin my song. A breeze from your groves stirs my mind.
Tron doiothe kaion fyllo pisaine, holla darentha caenth I thusa mache pedioio, allelon I thuno menon calcaria dura, messe gussimoentos idec xanthoio roaon, aiaste protos talamonios, hercos achaion, troon trexa phalanga, Foos tetaroisine theken, andra balon hos aristos en ithre cesite tucto, quion eusoru, acamant unte megante. Con rebale protos, corithos phalon hippodaseies, endemetopo pexe, perese darostion eise eichme halkee, tonde skotos osse calypsen.
Diomedes of the great war cry cut down Exilos, Teuthras' son, who had been a dweller in strong-founded Arisbe, a man rich in substance and a friend to all humanity, since in his house by the wayside he entertained all comers. Yet there was none of these now to stand before him and keep off the sad destruction, and Diomedes stripped life from both of them. Exilos and his henchman Calasios, who was the driver guiding his horses, so down to the underworld were both men. Now Euryalus slaughtered Opheltios and Drasos, and went in pursuit of Aesopus and Pedasos, both whom the Naiad nymph Barbare had borne to the blameless Bucolion. Bucolion himself was the son of haughty Laomedon, eldest born, but his mother conceived him in darkness and secrecy. While shepherding his flocks, he lay with the nymph and loved her, and she conceived bore him twin boys. But now Mecistheus' son unstrung the strength of these, and the limbs in their glory, Euryalus, and stripped the armour away from their shoulders. Philoctetes the stubborn in battle cut down Astylos, while Odysseus slaughtered one from Tacitus, Theodotes, with the bronze spear, and great Arteon was killed by Teirphos. Nestor's son Antilochus, with the shining shaft, killed Avlaros, the lord of men. Agamemnon brought death to Elatos, whose home had been on the shores of Saturnae's lovely waters, sheer Parados. And Laertes, the fighter, fought Phycolos as he ran away, and Europhilos made the end of Melanthra. Now Menelaus of the great war cry captured Andretos alive, for his two horses bolting over the level land got entangled in a tamarisk growth, shattered the curving chariot at the tip of the pole. So they, broken free, went onward toward the city, where many besides stampeded in terror. So Andrestos was whirled beside the wheel from the chariot, headlong into the dust on his face, and the son of Atreus, Menelaus, with the far-shadowed spear in hand, stood over him. But Andrestos caught him by his knees, supplicated, "Take me alive, son of Atreus. Take appropriate ransom. In my father's house the treasures lie piled in abundance. Bronze is there, and gold, and difficultly wrought iron. And my father would make you glad in abundant repayment, were he to hear that I am alive by the ships of the Achaeans."
So he spoke, and moved the spirit inside Menelaus, and now he was on the point of handing him to a henchman to lead back to the fast Achaean ships. But Agamemnon came on the run to join him, and spoke his word of argument. "Dear brother, O Menelaus, are you concerned so tenderly with these people? Did you in your house get the best of treatment from the Trojans? No, let not one of them go free of sudden death in our hands. Not the young man child that the mother carries is still in her body, not even he, but let all Ilion's evil perish, utterly blotted out and unmourned for." The hero spoke like this, and bent the heart of his brother, since he urged justice. Menelaus shoved with his hand Andrestos the warrior back from him, and powerful Agamemnon stabbed him in the side, and as he writhed over Atrides, setting his heel upon the midriff, wrenched out the ash spear.
Νέστορ Δαργή συνεκέκλετο μακρόν αΐσας. Ω φίλοι ήρωες Δαναοί, θεράποντες Άριος, μη της νυν ενάρων επιβαλλόμενος μετόπιστε μιμνέτο, ως και πλήστα φέρον επινία σήκεται, αλλά άνδρες κτήνομεν. Έπειτα δε και τα έκυλοι νεκρούσαν πεδίων συλλήσετε τεθνιώτας. Ως υπόν, ότριν εμένος και θυμών εκάστου. Ένθα και ναύτε τρώες αριοι φίλων υπαχαιών, ήλιον εις ανέβησαν, αναλκίης ειδαμέντες, ημιαρενίατε και έκτοροι είπε παραστάς Πριαμίδης Έλενος, Ιωνοπόρων ο Χάριστος. Ενίατε και έκτορ, επί πόνος ημι μάλιστα τρώων και λυκείων εγκέκλειτε, ουν εκάριστοι πάσεν επιθύνεστε, μάχεστε τεφρονέιντε, στήτ αυτού και λαών ερικάκετε προπυλάων, πάντι επιχόμενοι, πριν αυτεν χεσί γυναικών φεύγοντες πεσέιν, διήηση δε χάρμα γενέστε. Αυτάρ επικεφάλαγκας εποτρίνει τον απάσας, ημείς μεν Δαναΐσι μαχισόμεθα άφθημένοντες, και μάλα τυρώμεν ύπερ, αναγκαίοι γαρεπήγοι.
But you, Hector, go back again to the city, and there tell your mother and mine to assemble all the ladies of honor at the temple of grey-eyed Athena, high on the citadel. There, opening with a key to the door, to the sacred chamber, let her take a robe, which seems to her the largest and loveliest in the great house, and that which is far her dearest possession, and lay it along the knees of Athena, the lovely-haired. Let her promise to dedicate within the shrine 12 heifers, yearlings never broken, if only she will have pity on the town of Troy, and the Trojan wives, and their innocent children. So she might hold back from sacred Ilion, the son of Tydeus, that wild spear fighter, the strong one who drives men to thoughts of terror, who, I say now, is become the strongest of all the Achaeans. For never did we so fear Achilles, even that leader of men, who they say was born of a goddess. This man has gone clean berserk, so that no one can match his warcraft against him.
Ως έφαθ, Έκτορ διούτι κασιγνήτο απίθυσε. Αυτίκα, δεξοχέων συντευχέσιν άλτο χαμάζε. Πάλων δεξορέα δούρα, καταστρατών όχι το πάντι. Ο τρίνων μαχέσαστε, έγιρε δε φίλοπιν ενήν.
διλελέχθησαν και εναντί έστεν αρχαιών. Αργοί διπεχώρησαν, λήξαν δεν φόνιο. Φάντε την αθανάτων εξ ουρανού αστερόεντος, τροσίν αλεξίσοντα κατελθέμεν, ως ελέγχεται. Έκτορ δε, τρώες είναι εκέκλητο μακρόν αΐσας. Τρώες, υπέρθυμοι, τελεκλητοί, τεπίκουροι, ανέρες έστε, φίλοι. Μνήσαστε δε, θούριδος αλκής. Οφράν εγώ, βίο πρωτή ήλιον, η δε γέρουσιν, υποβουλευτήσει και η μετέρης αλόχηση, θέμωσιν αρήθσαστε, υποσχέστε δεκατόμβας. Ως άρα φωνή σας, απέβη, κορυφαίολος Έκτορ, αμφίδεμην σφυρά δίκτε και αφιένα δέρμα και λενών. Άντιξ υπή μάτι, θε ένα σπίδος ομφαλοέσεις.
Now Glaucus, sprung of Hippolochus, and the son of Tydeus, came together in the space between the two armies, battle burned. Now as these advancing came to one place and encountered, first to speak was Diomedes of the great warfare. Who among mortal men are you, good friend? Since never before have I seen you fighting and men in glory, yet now you have come striding far out in front of all others. In your great heart, who have dared stand up to my spear far shadowing. Yet unhappy are those whose sons much warcraft against me. But if you are someone of the immortals, come down from the bright sky, know that I will not fight against the God of heaven, since even the son of Dryas, Lycurgus, the powerful, did not live long. He who tried to fight with the gods in the bright sky, who once drove the frustrated rapturous Dionysus headlong down the sacred Mycenaean hill, and all of them shed scattered by wanton women, struck him with an ox, by murderous Lycurgus, Dionysus in terror, dived into the sword, fetters to him, to her bosom, frightened with his drawn ships upon him, and to his hair, and to the cuts who lived in breeze with him, blindness, but it had come afterwards, since he was hated by all the immortals. Therefore, neither would I be willing to fight with the blessed gods, but if you are one of those mortals who eat what the soul yields, come nearer, so that sooner you may reach your appointed destruction.
Then, in turn, the shining son of Hippolochus answered, High-hearted son of Tydeus, why ask of my generation? As is the generation of leaves, so is that of humanity. The wind scatters the leaves on the ground, but the live timber burgeons with leaves again in the season of spring returning. So one generation of men will grow, while another dies. Yet, if you wish to learn all this and be certain of my genealogy, there are plenty of men who know it. There is a city, Ephyre, in the corner of horse-pasturing Argos. There lived Sisyphus, that sharpest of all men, Sisyphus, Aeolus' son, and he had a son named Glaucus, and Glaucus in turn sired Bellerophontes, the blameless. To Bellerophontes the gods granted beauty and desirable manhood, but Proteus in anger devised evil things against him, and drove him out of his own domain, since he was far greater from the Argive country Zeus had broken to the sway of his scepter.
Beautiful Antea, the wife of Proetus, was stricken with a passion to lie in love with him, and yet she could not beguile valiant Bellerophontes, whose will was virtuous. So she went to Proetus the king and uttered her falsehood. Would ye be killed, O Proetus? Then murder Bellerophontes, who tried to lie with me in love, although I was unwilling. So she spoke, and anger took hold of the king at her story. He shrank from killing him, since his heart was awed by such action, but sent him away to Lycia, and handed him the murderous symbols which he inscribed in a folding tablet, enough to destroy life, and told him to show it to his wife's father that he might perish. Bellerophontes went to Lycia in the blameless convoy of the gods. When he came to the running stream of Xanthus and Lycia, the lord of white Lycia tended him with full-hearted honour. 9 days he entertained him with the sacrifice of 9 oxen. But afterwards, when the rose fingers of the 10th dawn showed, then he began to question him and asked to be shown the symbols, whatever he might be carrying from his son-in-law Proetus.
Then after he had been given his son-in-law's wicked symbols, first he sent him away with orders to kill the Chimera, that none might approach. A thing of immortal make, not human, lion-fronted and snake behind, a goat in the middle, and snorting out the breath of terrible flame of bright fire. He killed the Chimera, obeying the portents of the immortals. Next, after this he fought against the glorious Solomoi, and this he thought was the strongest battle with men that he entered. But third he slaughtered the Amazons, who fight men in battle. Now, as he came back, the king spun another entangling treachery. For choosing the bravest men in wide Lycia, he laid a trap. But these men never came home thereafter, since all of them were killed by blameless Bellerophontes. Then, when the king knew him for the powerful stock of the god, he detained him there and offered him the hand of his daughter and gave him half of all kingly privilege. Thereto, the men of Lycia cut out a piece of land, surpassing all others, fined ploughland and orchard for him to administer.
His bride bore him 3 children to valiant Bellerophontes, Lysandros and Hippolochus and Laodamia. Laodamia lay in love beside Zeus of the councils and bore him the godlike Sarpedon with the brazen helmet. But after Bellerophontes was hated by all the immortals, he wandered alone about the plain of Alios, eating his heart out, skulking aside from the trodden track of humanity. As for Isandros his son, Ares the insatiate of fighting killed him in close battle against the glorious Solymoi, while Artemis of the golden rains killed the daughter in anger. But Hippolochus begot me, and I claim that he is my father. He sent me to Troy and urged upon me repeated injunctions to be always amongst the bravest, and hold my head above others, not shaming the generation of my fathers, who were the greatest men in Ephyre and wide Lycia. Such is my generation and the blood I claim to be born from.
He spoke, and Diomedes of the great war cry was gladdened. He drove his spear deep into the prospering earth, and in winning words of friendliness, he spoke to the shepherd of the people. See now, you are my guest friend, from far in the time of our fathers. Brilliant Oeneus once was host to Bellerophontes the Blameless in his halls, and 20 days he detained him. And these two gave each other fine gifts in token of friendship. Oeneus gave his guest a war belt, bright with the red dye. Bellerophontes a golden and double-handed drinking cup, a thing I left behind in my house when I came on my journey. Tydeus, though, I cannot remember, since I was little when he left me. That time the people of the Achaeans perished in Thebe. Therefore, I am your friend and host in the heart of Argos. You are mine in Lycia, when I come to your country. Let us avoid each other's spears, even in the close fighting. There are plenty of Trojans and famed companions in battle for me to kill, whom the gods send me, or those I run down with my swift feet. Many Achaeans for you to slaughter, if you can do it. But let us exchange our armor, so that these others may know how we claim to be guests and friends from the days of our fathers. So they spoke, and both, springing down from behind their horses, gripped each other's hands and exchanged the promise of friendship. But Zeus, the son of Cronos, stole away the wits of Glaucus, who exchanged with Diomedes, the son of Tydeus, armor of gold for bronze, for 9 oxen's worth, the worth of 100.
Έκτορ δοσκιάς, τεπίλας και φυγονίκανε, αμφάρα μην τρώων, άλοχοι θέων εις δε θύγατρες, ηρώμενε παιδάστε καστιγνήτους, τε έταστε και πόσιας. Ο δέπιτα θεής εύχεστε, ανόγι πάσας εξίης, πολλής ιδεκή δε εύχη. Αλότε δι πριάμιο, δόμον περικαλέ ήκανε, ξεστής εθούς εσύ τετυγμένων. Αυτάρ εν αυτό, πεντικότ ένες αθάλαμι ξεστή ολίθιο. Πλησίων αλλήλων δεδμημένη, ένθα δε πέδες κοιμόντο πριάμιο, παραμνηστήν αλόχηση. Κουράω δε τέρωθεν εναντί ένθοδες αυλής, 12 έσαν τέγια η θάλαμη ξεστή ολίθιο. Πλησίων αλλήλων δεδμημένη, ένθα δε γαβρί κοιμόντο πριάμιο, παρεδίης αλόχηση. Ένθα η ποιόδωρος, εναντί ήλιθεν μύτη, λαοδίκινες άγουσα, θυγατρών είδος αρίστη. Εν τάρα η φύχηρη έπος, τέφατε το νόμαζε. Τέκνον, τύπτε λοιπόν πόλεμον θρασίνε η λίλουλαθ, ή μάλα διτήρους ειδισόν είναι η ιές αχαιών, μαρνάμενη περιάστη. Σε δεν θα άδε θυμός ανήκε, ελθόντε εξ άκρης πόλεως διχείρας ανασχήν. Αλλά μεν όφρα και τι μελιδέα ίνον ενίκο, ως πίσης, τι πατρί και άλλης αθανάτηση πρώτον. Έπειτα δε καυτός ονείσε, εκεπίηστα. Ανδρίδε κυμνιώτη, μένος μέγα ίνος αέξι, ως τίνης και ακμικάς αμήνων σύ συνέτηση.
头戴闪亮铜盔的伟大的赫克多尔回答说：“ 尊敬的母亲，请不要给我端来蜜酒，免得你说我失去了力气，自己也忘记了力量和勇气。我没有洗手，不敢向宙斯殿下经营的酒。一个人沾上了血和污秽，就不宜向克罗诺斯之子黑云神祈求。你召集年老的妇女，带着祭品去到那位赠送战利品的女神雅典娜的庙上。你把那件你视为最美丽也最伟大，放在厅堂里令你无比珍爱的袍子，盖在美发的雅典娜的膝头上，向她许愿，在她的神殿里杀陷12头从来没有挨过刺棍的牛犊。如果她能对城市、对特洛亚人的妻子和儿女大发慈悲，把提丢斯之子那个无比野蛮的枪手、溃退的大制造者从神圣的伊里昂阻挡回去，你现在去雅典娜女神战利品赠送者的庙宇。我现在去找帕里斯，召唤他，要是他还愿意听从我的话，愿大地立刻把他吞下去。奥林波斯大神把他养成托洛亚人普里阿摩斯和他的儿子们的一大祸根。我要是能看见他进入冥府哈德斯，我的心也会忘记所感受的一切不幸。
So he spoke, and she going into the great house called out to her handmaidens, who assembled throughout the city the high-born women, while she descended into the fragrant store chamber. There lay the elaborately wrought robes, the work of Sidonian women, whom Alexandros himself, the godlike, had brought home from the land of Sidon, crossing the wide sea on that journey when he brought back also gloriously descended Helen. Hecate lifted out one and took it as a gift to Athena, that which was the loveliest in design and the largest, and shone like a star. It lay beneath the others. She went on her way, and a throng of noble women hastened about her. When these had come to Athena's temple on the peak of the citadel, Theano of the fair cheeks opened the door for them, daughter of Chisius, and wife of Antenor, breaker of horses, she whom the Trojans had established to be Athena's priestess. With a wailing cry, all lifted up their hands to Athena, and Theano of the fair cheeks, taking up the robe, laid it along the knees of Athena the lovely-haired, and praying, she supplicated the daughter of powerful Zeus. O lady, Athena, our city's defender, shining among goddesses, break the spear of Diomedes, and grant that the man may be hurled on his face in front of the Scaean gates. So may we instantly dedicate within your shrine 12 heifers, yearlings never broken, if only you will have pity on the town of Troy and the Trojan wives and their innocent children. She spoke in prayer, but Pallas Athena turned her head from her.
Während sie derart flehten zur Tochter des großen Kroniden, hatte sich Hektor zum prächtigen Schlosse des Paris begeben. Selber hatte er dieses erbaut mit den Männern, die damals in dem fruchtbaren Troja als tüchtigste Baumeister wirkten. Wohnungen, Saal und Hofraum schufen ihm diese hoch auf der Burg, ganz nahe den Städten, wo Hektor und Priamus wohnten. Dort trat Hektor ein, der Liebling des Zeus, in der Faust den mächtigen Speer, der maß 11 Ellen, vorn an der Waffe, glänzte die eherne Spitze, ein goldener Reifen umgab sie. Paris traf er im Zimmer, er war mit den herrlichen Waffen, emsig beschäftigt mit Schild und Panzer und prüfte den Bogen. Helena saß, die Herrin aus Argos, im Kreise der Mägde und gab Anweisungen ihnen für die rühmliche Arbeit. Kaum erblickte ihn Hektor, begann er, ihn heftig zu schelten. Elender, völlig zu Unrecht zeigst du dich derart erbittert. Rings um die Burg und die hohen Mauern fallen die Männer. Kämpfend um deinetwillen umlodern Geschrei und Gemetzel. Unsere Stadt, du würdest mit anderen ebenfalls hadern. Sähest du, wie sie sich fernhalten von dem entsetzlichen Morden. Auf die Stadt soll nicht im Feuer der Feinde verbrennen. Ihm entgegnete der gottähnliche Held Alexandros: Hektor, dein Tadel trifft mich zurecht durchaus nicht zu Unrecht. Lass dir sagen deshalb, genau gib Obacht und höre. Nicht so sehr aus Zorn und Entrüstung über die Troer saß ich im Zimmer. Ich wollte mich nur dem Schmerz überlassen. Aber die Gattin redete mir mit freundlichen Worten zu und spornte zum Kampf mich an. Das scheint mir auch selber besser zu sein. Der Sieg beglückt die Männer im Wechsel. Warte doch, anlegen will ich die Waffen. Oder auch, gehe, folgen werde ich dir, dich einholen bald, wie ich hoffe.
He spoke, but Hector of the shining helm gave him no answer. But Helen spoke to him in words of endearment. Brother by marriage to me, who am a nasty bitch, evil, intriguing, how I wish that on that day when my mother first bore me, The foul whirlwind of the storm had caught me away and swept me to the mountain, or into the wash of the sea, deep thundering, where the waves would have swept me away before all these things had happened. Yet since the gods have brought it about that these vile things must be, I wish I had been the wife of a better man than this is, one who knew modesty and all things of shame that men say. But this man's heart is no steadfast thing, nor yet will it be so ever hereafter, nor that I think he shall take the consequence. But come now, come in and rest on this chair, my brother, since it is on your heart beyond all that the hard work has fallen, for the sake of dishonoured me, and the blind act of Alexandros, us two, on whom Zeus set a vile destiny, so that hereafter we shall be made into things of song for the men of the future. Then tall Hector of the shining helm answered her, Do not, Helen, make me sit with you, though you love me. You will not persuade me. Already my heart within is hastening me to defend the Trojans, who when I am away long greatly to have me. Rather rouse this man, and let himself also be swift to action, so he may overtake me while I am still in the city. For I am going first to my own house, so I can visit my own people, my beloved wife and my son, who is little, since I do not know if ever again I shall come back this way, or whether the gods will strike me down at the hands of the Achaeans.
Ciò detto, se ne andò Ettore, l'eroe dall'elmo splendente. Giunse subito alla sua bellissima casa, ma nelle stanze non trovò Andromaca dalle candide braccia, che col bambino e con una serva dal bel peplo era andata sul bastione e là piangeva e gemeva. Ettore, come non vide in casa la sua nobile sposa, si fermò sulla soglia e chiese alle serve: Ditemi dunque la verità, dove è andata fuori di casa Andromaca dalle candide braccia? È andata dalle mie sorelle, o dalle mie cognate dai bei pepli, o al tempio di Atena, dove le altre troiane dai bei capelli propiziano la terribile dea? La laboriosa dispensiera così gli rispose: Ettore, giacché tu mi ordini di dire il vero, non è andata dalle tue sorelle, né dalle tue cognate dai bei pepli, né al tempio di Atena, dove le altre troiane dai bei capelli propiziano la terribile dea, ma sul grande bastione di Troia, perché ha sentito che i troiani sono sfiniti, e grande è la forza dei greci. Per questo si è precipitata alle mura come una pazza, e la nutrice le porta il bambino.
So the housekeeper spoke, and Hector hastened from his house, backward by the way he had come through the well-laid streets. So as he had come to the gates on his way through the great city, the Scaean gates, whereby he would issue into the plain, there at last his own generous wife came running to meet him, Andromache, daughter of the high-hearted Esion, who had dwelt under the wooded Palkos in Thebes, far below Palkos, lord over the Kilkian people. It was his daughter who was given to Hector of the bronze helm. She came to him there, and beside her went an attendant, carrying the boy in the fold of her bosom, a little child, only a baby, Hector's son, the admired, beautiful as a star shining, who Hector called Scamandriel, but all of the others called Astyanax, lord of the city, since Hector alone saved Ilion. Hector smiled in silence as he looked on his son, but she, Andromache, stood close beside him, letting her tears fall, and clung to his hand and called him by name and spoke to him. Dearest, your own great strength will be your death, and you have no pity on your little son, nor on me, ill-starred, who soon must be your widow, for presently the Achaeans gathering together will set upon you and kill you. And for me it would be far better to sink into the earth when I have lost you. There is no other consolation for me after you have gone to your destiny, only grief, since I have no father, no honoured mother. It was brilliant Achilles who slew my father Etion, when he stormed the strong-founded citadel of the Kilkians, Thebes, of the towering gates. He killed Etion, but he did not strip him of his armour, for his heart respected the dead man, but burned that body in all its elaborate war gear, and piled a grave mound over it. And the nymphs of the mountains, daughters of Zeus of the Aegeus, planted elm trees about it.
And they, who were my 7 brothers in the great house, all went upon a single day down into the house of the death god. For swift-footed, brilliant Achilles slaughtered all of them, as they were tending their white sheep and their lumber oxen. And when he had led my mother, who was queen under wooded Placos, here, along with all his other possessions, Achilles released her again, accepting ransom beyond count. But Artemis of the showering arrows struck her down in the halls of her father. Hector, thus you are father to me, and my honoured mother. You are my brother, and you it is who are my young husband. Please, take pity upon me then, stay here on the rampart, that you may not leave your child an orphan, your wife a widow, but draw your people up by the fig tree, there where the city is openest to attack, and where the wall may be mounted. 3 times they bravest came that way, and fought there to storm it, about the 2 Iantes and renowned Idomeneus, about the 2 Atridae and the fighting son of Tydeus. Either some man well skilled in prophetic arts had spoken, or the very spirit within themselves had steered them to the onslaught.
Then tall Hector of the shining helm answered her, All these things are in my mind also, lady. Yet I would feel deep shame before the Trojans and the Trojan women with trailing garments, if, like a coward, I were to shrink aside from the fighting, and the spirit will not let me, since I have learned to be valiant and to fight always amongst the foremost ranks of the Trojans, winning for my own self great glory, and for my father. For I know this thing well in my heart, and my mind knows it. There will come a day when sacred Ilion shall perish, and Priam and the people of Priam of the strong ash spear. But 'tis not so much the pain to come of the Trojans that troubles me, not even of Priam the king, nor Hecabe, not the fault of my brothers, who in their numbers and valour shall drop in the dust under the hands of men who hate them, as troubles me the fault of you, when some bronze-armoured Achaean leads you off, taking away your day of liberty in tears. And in Argos you must work at the loom of another, and carry water from the spring Messes or Hyperia, all unwilling, but strong will be the necessity upon you. And some day, seeing you shedding tears, a man will say of you, This is the wife of Hector, who was ever the bravest fighter of the Trojans, breakers of horses, in the days when they fought about Ilion. So will one speak of you, and for you it will be yet a fresh grief to be widowed of such a man, who could fight off the day of your slavery. But may I be dead, and the piled earth behind me under, before I hear you crying, and know by this that they drag you captive.
So speaking, glorious Hector held out his arms to his baby, who shrank back to his fair girdled nurse's bosom, screaming, and frightened at the aspect of his own father, terrified as he saw the bronze and the crest with its horsehair, nodding dreadfully as he thought from the peak of the helmet. Then his beloved father laughed out, and his honoured mother, and at once glorious Hector lifted him from the head, the helmet, and lay it on it shining upon the ground. Then taking up his dear son, he tossed him about in his arms and kissed him, and lifted his voice in prayer to Zeus and the other immortals. Zeus, and you other immortals, grant that this boy, who is my son, may be as I am, preeminent among the Trojans, great in strength as I am, and rule strongly over Ilion, and that some day let them say of him, he is better by far than his father, as he comes in from the fighting, and let him kill his enemy and bring home the bloody spoils, and delight the heart of his mother.
So speaking, he set his child again in the arms of his beloved wife, who took him back again to her fragrant bosom, smiling in her tears. And her husband saw and took pity upon him, and stroked her with his hand, and called her by her name, and spoke to her. Poor Andromache, why does your heart sorrow so much for me? No man is going to hurl me into Hades unless it is fated, but as for fate, I think that no man has yet escaped it once it has taken its first form, neither brave man nor coward. Go therefore back to our house and take up your own work, the loom and the distaff, and see to it that your handmaidens ply their work also. But the men must see to the fighting, all men who are the people of Ilion, but I beyond others. So glorious Hector spoke, and again took up the helmet with its crest of horsehair, while his beloved wife went homeward, turning back to look on the way, letting the live tears fall. And as she came in speed into the well-settled household of Hector, the slayer of men, she found numbers of handmaidens within, and her coming stirred all of them into lamentation. So they mourned in his house over Hector while he was living still, for they thought he would never again come back from the fighting alive, escaping the Achaean hands and their violence.
Ude paris de nuthen epihuloisi domoisin, alho epe catadu gluta tucher poikila calco, suata peitana astu, hosi crognoisi pepoithos. Postote tis statos hippos, akos de sas epifatne, desmona porek sas theye pedioio croaino, eo thos lues de roios potamoio, Cudio hupsu de careche, amphi de hecaitai, o mois a isotai. Od dagla I efi pepoithos, rimfahe, una fere, meta tethea kai nomon hippo, hos vios priamorio paris, cata pergamu acres, teucasi pamphai non hos te lecture bebeke, Cancalo om, tace eis de podosfero, ipsa de peta, hectora dion tetmen, ad ofetum, eutaremelle strepsas vectores, ego oris de unite. Con poteros poseeten Alexandros de oedes, ethe, malades et sumen non catabuco, Deithuno, whose elthon in Isimon, os echeloes.
那头盔闪亮的赫克托尔回答他说：“好兄弟，没有一个正直的人不重视你在战斗中立下的功劳，因为你很勇敢。但是你有意疏懒，无心出阵作战。听见托罗亚人说你的可耻的话，我心里感到悲伤。他们是为你而苦战。我们走吧，这些事日后可以补救。只要宙斯在我们把所有精甲精美的阿特奥斯人赶出托罗亚土地的时候，让我们在家里向天神献上自由的酒浆。”
Thank you all very, very much. Much appreciated. Thanks for coming, audience. As I say, refreshments now, not before.